At 5:47 a.m., a DJI Mavic 3T reconnaissance drone was already circling at 280 meters above the Bakhmut Chasiv Yar road, its thermal camera painting the darkness below in shades of white and black. 3 kilometers to the west, a Ukrainian drone crew from the 427th Separate Brigade of Unmanned Systems, call sign Rarog, sat in a ruined basement. 4 Rarog-10 Strike FPVs lined up on a plastic tarp, each one loaded with a 2.8 kilogram fragmentation charge. They didn't know it yet, but in the next 10 minutes, they would dismantle a Russian assault column of more than 20 men before it ever reached the line. The Russians were moving in the open. They thought the darkness was enough. The Mavic's operator spotted the column at 0548. The thermal feed showed a ragged line of white shapes moving at walking pace, roughly 4 kilometers per hour, strung along the exposed road with no vehicle escort, no visible dispersion drill, no overwatch element. The column had left a staging area east of the Bakhmut ruins sometime before 0530, pushing west along a dirt road that fed into the southern approaches of Chasiv Yar. More than 20 personnel on foot, spread across roughly 200 meters, with a light trailer hauling a quad bike near the center of the formation, their mobility reserve for the final push into the urban edge. At the center of the formation, the trailer was unmistakable. A rectangular heat bloom dragged by 2 men, the quad bike's engine still warm from a recent run. The operator tagged the lead element and passed the grid to the strike cell. The distance from the FPV launch point to the column's current position? 8 kilometers.
At 90 kilometers per hour, a Rarog-10 covers that distance in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. At 115 kilometers per hour, its maximum sprint, the same corridor shrinks to 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Add 2 minutes for deployment, pull the FPV from the tarp, connect the battery, confirm video link, arm the charge, and hand launch. Total time from the order to first impact, between 6 minutes 10 seconds and 7 minutes 20 seconds. The column was walking at 4 kilometers per hour. In 7 minutes, they would cover less than 500 meters. They weren't going anywhere. They couldn't. That was the math, and the math was already a death sentence. The strike coordinator radioed the 24th Brigade's fire control node at 0549. Column confirmed, more than 20, moving west on the southern approach. Request suppressive fires on route segment. The fire control node responded in 4 words. Suppressive fires approved. Engaging. The purpose wasn't to kill with artillery. It was to keep the column on the road, deny the lateral escape routes, block any attempt to scatter into the tree line 150 meters to the south. Artillery shapes the corridor. FPVs clean it. 8 kilometers to the southeast, a 2A65 Mista B howitzer crew received the fire mission. At a sustained rate of 5 rounds per minute, the first shells could be downrange within 3 minutes of the order. But the coordination wasn't sequential. It was simultaneous. The FPV team didn't wait for the artillery to land. They launched at 0550. The first Rarog-10 left the operator's hand at 0550, its high-performance electric motors pulling it into the pre-dawn air with a thin, rising whine. Reinforced carbon frame, day and night optics, a 2.8 kilogram charge slung beneath. Cruise speed, 90 kilometers per hour. The operator's screen showed the Mavic's thermal overlay on the left panel and the FPV's nose camera on the right. Grainy, compressed, stabilized enough to track a moving vehicle at range, but not enough to count faces. The drone climbed to 60 meters and leveled off, heading northwest along a trajectory that kept it below the ridgeline for the first 3 kilometers. At 90 kilometers per hour, it would enter the target corridor at approximately 0555, 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
That was the window. The column kept walking. At 05:52, the first artillery round landed 80 meters south of the road, throwing a column of dirt and smoke into the air. The effect was immediate. The formation compressed. Men who had been walking with 10-meter spacing closed to 5. The trailer slowed. 2 men at the rear dropped flat, then got up and ran forward to rejoin the group. The second round hit 40 seconds later, this time 60 meters to the north. The column was now bracketed. Fires to the south, fires to the north, the road in between. The dispersion option was gone. The only movement possible was forward or backward along the same exposed strip, and the Rarog-10 was already 5 kilometers downrange. Here's the part that made the intercept inevitable. A foot column moving at 4 kilometers per hour on an exposed road needs roughly 2 minutes to reach any viable cover: a tree line, a drainage ditch, a wrecked building. But the artillery had already closed those options. The shells weren't aimed at the column. They were aimed at the exits. Every round that landed 60 to 80 meters off the road wasn't a miss. It was a wall. The column couldn't scatter because the fragments would catch them in the open ground. They couldn't hold position because they were visible from 280 meters up. And they couldn't outrun a drone doing 90 kilometers per hour. At 05:54, the Rarog-10 crossed the 3 kilometers mark from the target corridor. The operator began terminal corrections, small heading adjustments, nose-down pitch to trade altitude for speed. The FPV's camera feed sharpened as the distance closed. On the thermal overlay from the Mavic, the column was still compressed, still on the road, still moving west at walking pace. The owner locked the trailer. At 05:55, the Rarog-10 dove. The attack angle was steep, roughly 50 degrees, a near vertical plunge that minimized the target's lateral profile and maximized the charge's downward fragmentation cone. The trailer filled the screen for less than 2 seconds. The quad bike was visible on the flatbed, its handlebars casting a sharp thermal shadow. Impact. The 2.8 kilograms charge detonated on the trailer bed. The quad bike disintegrated. The trailer frame buckled and flipped sideways, blocking the road. Smoke and debris erupted upward. The 2 men who had been pulling the trailer were thrown clear. The column's mobility reserve was gone. And the second Rarog-10 was already airborne. The trailer kill changed the geometry. Before the strike, the column had been a line, stretched along the road, moving forward, each man separated by a few meters of walking distance. After the trailer detonated, the line broke. The front half kept moving west, trying to reach the urban edge 600 meters ahead. The rear half stopped, bunched around the wreckage, unsure whether to push forward or retreat. That compression was exactly what the follow-on strikes needed. The second Rarog-10 launched at 05:52, 2 minutes behind the first. It arrived over the corridor at 05:57. By then, the rear cluster had tightened to a group of 8 to 10 men within a 30-meter radius, standing, crouching, some dragging a wounded man away from the burning trailer. The operator didn't need precision. He needed proximity. The drone dove into the cluster. The charge detonated at ground level. In the ruined basement, the third operator pulled the last Rarog-10 from the tarp. 1 battery left. The Mavic's feed showed the front group sprinting west, a ragged line of white shapes stretching toward the first buildings of the outskirts. The third Rarog-10 followed 90 seconds later, targeting the front group. They had covered 200 meters from the trailer wreckage and were moving fast, a ragged sprint toward the first buildings of the Chasiv Yar outskirts. But 200 meters at a dead run takes roughly a minute. The drone covered the same distance in 8 seconds. Impact. 3 men down. The rest scattered into a drainage ditch on the north side of the road. The artillery shifted. 2 rounds dropped into the ditch line, 100 meters east and west of the huddle point. The message was clear. The ditch was not cover. It was a kill zone with walls. A fourth Rarog-10 launched at 05:56. It arrived at 06:01. By then, the column had ceased to exist as a tactical formation. Individuals were crawling in 3 directions. The Mavic overhead tracked each heat signature with mechanical patience. The fourth drone struck a pair of men who had made it 50 meters into the tree line south of the road, the same tree line the artillery had been suppressing since the first round. The operator had held this one longer than the others, circling once at 80 meters before committing to the dive. A wider spiral, a slower lock. The camera feed steadying on 2 shapes crawling south through the undergrowth. At 06:01, the Rarog-10 tipped into its terminal dive. The thermal image sharpened. 2 white shapes, prone, 3 meters apart. The charge detonated between them. The Mavic operator keyed the radio. 4 expended, column broken. By 06:05, the engagement was over. 18 minutes from first detection to final strike. 4 Rarog-10s expended. A handful of artillery rounds. 1 reconnaissance drone still circling at 280 meters, its battery indicator dropping toward 40%. Below it, a 400-meter stretch of road held a burning trailer, a destroyed quad bike, and the scattered remains of an assault group that had been 20 strong 10 minutes earlier. The column didn't fail because the Russian soldiers made a mistake. They followed a standard approach route, maintained reasonable spacing, and moved at night to avoid visual detection. They failed because the route was already watched, because a thermal sensor at 280 meters doesn't care about darkness, because a 2-minute FPV deployment cycle is faster than any foot column can react to, and because artillery doesn't need to hit you. It just needs to close every door except the one with a drone behind it. The entire strike package, 4 Rarog-10s, a Mavic 3T, and a handful of 152mm shells, cost less than the quad bike it destroyed. Somewhere along the Bakhmut Chasiv Yar road, another Russian assault group is forming up in a staging area, checking equipment, preparing to push west under darkness. They are looking at the same road. The Mavic is already airborne.